Howdy, guys, and welcome to the third iteration of Behind the Swipes. Today, thanks to your votes, I am joined by the Penguin Man. How are you doing, Penguin?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
No
Good to be
problem at all.
here.
Fantastic. I don't think we've really talked too much, I must say, over the course of us being in the Discord, so
No, yeah, well, hey, pudding, no. Sorry, I got my cat. No, yeah, I'd agree with that. Nowadays I'm quite the lurker too, so
yeah. I think the extent of me talking to you was the monkey and the frog, and we won't go into too much detail beyond that.
yeah, we'll sweep that under the rug.
Oh dear. Oh, alright. Penguin, when did you start playing Defender of Texel Online?
So I think I found the thread for like the forums for this around like the summer of 2019, and it wasn't until like October of 2019 that I found out that there was a Discord and that I could actually play the game. So about October, almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years now.
Okay, that goes to show as to why I don't remember your join date because that was in my hiatus.
All right.
And well, you kind of explained it, but how did you find Dotto? That was through a forum that you were looking at, wasn't it?
Um. Well, yeah. So I found like the main forum pages, like where things were initially put on. Um. I found Dotto just by lurking. It was kind of like a nostalgia trip. I think I found it through the Bears fan again because I was like, oh, I remember this game I used to play as a kid. Super, super into it. It was never very good, but super into it. And then I was looking to see if it was like, I knew it was down. Just looking to see if there's like a private server of that, which is kind of what this is. And I ended up searching around and finding that, and then eventually joining. But I was just having a nostalgia trip, and I managed to stumble upon it.
Ah, fantastic. Um, all right. Your reputation as a player. Usually when I ask this question, I usually follow it up with my views of you as a player, but I don't really know you as a player
Yeah,
because you haven't really played too much since my coming back.
right. Um, I'm definitely a bitch when it comes to climbing for the or pushing because honestly, like I really enjoy the game and I really enjoy the community, but I feel like playing the game in mass quantities is not very like fun to me. So like when I have to push to like top 10 or something, I don't really like enjoy doing that. Like that is not too entertaining for me. So now I just kind of play for like top 25 stuff, just casual stuff that I don't have to like really go into. I can just like casually pick it up in my free time. Is all really I do now, and I think pretty much what I have done for like every event other than the Zert event.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's fair enough. I understand completely on that. All right. And your favorite part of the game?
Hmm. Definitely the fighters. Definitely the fighters.
Yep.
Like I said, I was never like super good at it, even in OG dot. I just really enjoyed like looking like I really love this art style, like the pixel,
Mm.
like old school like art. That's namely like probably my favorite part of the game. It's just like the collecting aspect of having those cool looking fighters with cool looking sprites and not PvP. I hate PvP. I mean, anything is better than that.
Basically, defender of gear procs at that point.
Yes. And defender of drain your Nux bits.
Ah, yes, fun. uh,
I Go ahead.
uh, I was gonna. Did you have anything more on that topic? I was gonna jump to the next question. That's
Um,
all.
no, I don't think so. Just like collection. That is
Yeah,
my favorite part, 100%.
yeah. No, that's fair enough. What is your views on? I'll separate these into three parts. So giveaways,
Yeah.
loaning,
Giveaway,
and renting.
loaning, renting.
So we'll start with
Um,
giveaways. What's your views on giveaways?
I think that giveaways. So in .o, we have quite a limited community. And players that come in are and that stay for periods of time are not. as frequent as a normal like MOBA game that is out there that everyone's enjoying freely. So I think having giveaways helps a lot to kind of like assimilate assimilate players, new players like into the game. Obviously, anyone could win a giveaway, but more often than not, like new players or just that stuff going into the market helps a lot. And I think giveaways overall are fine. As long as they're not like insane, right? Like a lot of giveaways, you might get some like old rare fighters or some, 3-3 champs. It could be anything, but as long as it's not like insane, like multiple Hermes or like any like top tier champion that or uh, fighter that's being given away in mass quantity, as long as it's not that, I'm satisfied, and I think it helps like stimulate the economy and help out new players.
Yep, yep. Fantastic. I like those views. Loaning. This one's a bit debatable.
Loaning. So loaning follows like that same principle that it gives newer players opportunity, especially in dungeons, newer players opportunity to get higher end dungeon rewards that are like past 5 star or something. And I think it is really like a very interesting push and pull with loaning because obviously it's really good for both parties, right? You have fighters that you loan out to help new players get resources, and which you can also request resources. So it always comes like full circle. I feel like loaning is something that would work um, within the community unless it is abused. Like it has to be like really closely, maybe not monitored, but like really closely like I don't know, watch to just make sure that it would stay like that. But obviously, we can't do that, right? We can't see the DMs of other players or anything. Um, but I think in moderation, loaning is very good. But when you have people that are sharking out there and, like in really high tier dungeons and like you take an epic that's worth like 30 plus Nux and equivalent to this or like multiple rares, it still probably is like a really good deal for both ends. But then you just have like some people like that don't play the game very much but have a really reliable band. You just get them like raking in resources essentially for free, right? They don't even have to
Mm.
play the event. They just have to like stick their nose out when a good event starts, saying that they're loaning for whatever X whatever they want to request, and then like you're just passively gaining income, which will ultimately, in my opinion, destroy the economy when really good things happen because then you have all these players that don't play very much and aren't necessarily like there actively in the economy, just spending and like using all these resources and buying out rare fighters that aren't really like sold a lot anymore because they're kind of like Ren, right? To be fair though, like the people who did have Ren did play a lot, like Cuddles and stuff, but like they get like these passive incomes, and like Ren is gonna come again this event, and I think that it could just be very easily absorbed by those who have a lot of resources just by passively doing that. But if that doesn't happen, I think loaning is good. I think it works.
Yep, yep. No, that's more than fair enough. Um, and how is your on a sidetrack? This event's being written. How do
Mm.
you feel about the reward distribution for the written pieces or piece?
Oh, I think it's absolutely terrible. I have I don't play dot very much unless an event comes. And I was very interested to see that Ren was here, and I was and there's a dungeon event. Dungeon events are like the only events I'll play, and I'm like, here we go. I can put in my fair share and try to climb the ranks of like T25 and maybe get like another epic or two or legend out of the dungeon. And I before I even start doing anything, before I start using any of my 2,500 bitters, I asked what are the dungeon rewards, and I thought people were like messing with me, like one rare. And I know that they like dungeon rewards are always like a balance like issue because I'm not sure how it works about like how those actually get picked, but generally speaking, in the past there's been some really, maybe not generally, but in the past there have been some really overpowered distributions that kind of like ruin the economy, like Cow or like Ace for that time being. Like they were flooded, really good fighters that were just over flooded because of this.
Mm.
And I don't think that's good. But I think limiting it to this extent, like maybe it's just like a testing thing to see how it would react, to see like how it would react for players and how it would, balance like the right scarcity of the fighter. But I personally don't like it. I think it's crap, and I'm not playing the game for a run rare.
Yep, yep. I must
So
say, I seen Lambo's message out to everyone saying about the event rewards getting changed
balance,
about
yeah.
3 minutes before the event came out. So I offered
Oh,
Dynamics 10 bidders if he found the 5-star rewards in like 45 minutes, and he did. That's how we knew about the rewards, and it's terrible, absolutely terrible.
Christ. Well, I love you, Dynamics. If you're watching this, I'm glad we're talking about you.
Yeah, we love your Dynamics,
We'll
and keep your
get you
speed
on
running
there.
skills up.
Yes, and always stream the last hours of the event because it gives me entertainment.
I haven't watched any of them.
Oh, well, you're missing out.
I'm probably asleep when that's happening, or I'm at work if it's the last hour of the event.
It's
Uh,
fine.
um, Loaning and renting. We kind of went over renting because we bundled it up with loaning. So,
Oh yeah.
all right. This one is a not an old question now, but your thoughts on superfuse being added into the game?
Oh. Um. Hmm. I think so. What my thoughts on were Superfuse is I don't know how it was in original Dot, but and I could be remembering incorrectly, but I thought that when you traded units over the trade, right, that Superfuse did not stay. So when I heard that Superfuse was in, I thought that was interesting because in my head that meant that super high tier units like Lady of the Lake or Ace Elena or Acme would never be traded because people would superfuse like expensive things into them and then you would never get them back. It'd be crazy. But now that it is in there, I think that hmm, I think that superfuse is just gonna be really strong. Like it's gonna change the market for a lot of fighters. Now fighters are gonna have like an insane like flux of what could be their price instead of just standard like max because now you have different variables. I think it's gonna be really interesting for like event or for all the events really PvP, both PvP and dungeons because it allows some like lower tier fans possibly to get through dungeons easier. Like I don't know where Barthok stands on a dungeon endpoint, but I have a line of that. And I think once you get to like 4 stars, he stops like one-shotting things. But now that you can like superfuse these things, right? Now that Barthok, who is like a pretty decent fighter, now goes to like really strong preempt or not preempt, but higher priority than that fighter that you can superfuse with attack, and now he becomes like super viable to clear dungeon efficiently. And I think that's really good because now you can give um well maybe not. I think I talk a lot before I think. Because you probably
Yes.
could sink those equivalent resources into like another fighter. Hey, pudding, stop, dumb cat. You could probably sink those other fighters or that other resources into other fighters that could carry, right? So if you spend 500 nux on a Barthok that would, or like a Barthok line that has been superfused, you could probably put that 500 nux towards like Max Zool that would get through like way easy. But it gives you a lot more options too, which is good because and yeah, I think that's good. And it's also going to give more meaning to reruns of old like units that were okay and give older units that were never used now give a lot more value like Milp or Kina. Um, and I like that because it just makes sure that like everyone is included, right? As far as like because I think the tier list was super like unbalanced before this. Like it was a really crazy jump from like mid game to end game, and like the jump from like early game to mid game wasn't enough, and I felt like that was like very discouraging to people. But now there's a lot more cushioning between being able to get from like mid to end game. You have a lot more steps to take to there, um, and I like that. I think it'll be very positive on terms of like player feedback and I think it'll be pretty good for the economy. And it's giving it a boost right now because a lot of people that are hoarding old things have opportunity to sell those things, right? And just kind of for most people, kind of make a quick buck. But I haven't even superfused anything myself yet. Honestly, I think things are gonna tank in price. Give it a month or so.
Mm.
Everyone's just gotta got this new update hype, and I ain't got no money, so I'm not doing that. I don't trade my bitters. Those are Penguin exclusives.
No, very well said. I was going to add some things on, but then you just threw them in there in amongst all the other comments. So, no, I
Oh
got
yeah.
nothing else to add on to that. I think
I talk a lot.
no, it's fantastic. It's it's if you haven't realised, Swigs went for about 10 minutes, so
Oh
it's a
yeah.
nice change.
Yeah. I always got a lot to say.
Hey,
Always.
nothing wrong with that. I'm happy for you to keep talking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. What is the number one change you want to see in Dotto?
The number one change.
Yep.
That's a really good question. I'm Let me specify the question. Is this a number one change from like an original dot implementation to current Dotto, or just anything that can be varied in the current game that we have?
Absolutely anything.
Okay.
If it's too difficult to think of one, you can do two.
Right. I think, well, maybe not the most impactful thing. I Something that I really like to see and I thought was entertaining, kind of gave more of a milestone or sense of progression with leveling up, is the band levy, being able to like put that extra percent stats on different spots, which seems like a really minor thing, but honestly, leveling up has like zero meaning to it right now, and I really like that. Right, it makes me feel like more accomplished when I do that. And it was just something like as a kid when I played the game, I really enjoyed it, and it's kind of like a nostalgia thing, but that's something that I would really like to see. And also, um, I guess more of a drastic change that I really want to see is like balancing. This is a really like broad thing, but like balancing and adding new events. Like I think and gear. I think I think the biggest thing, actually, I'm changing my mind. The biggest thing that could be added for Dot that I would love to see is gear rewards and events. Being able to add a multiple like series of gear, like dungeon events that could have gear, or like PvP, right? With all these distributions, um, and getting like random maybe gear drops, or like based on what is it, the thing that you like, echelons, right? Echelon rewards.
Yep.
I don't remember the event in OG Dot that gave out gears rewards, and I think it was like some kind of mix of like dungeon or siege. But I think like having gear basically come once a year or twice a year for like the anniversary or like Halloween time for orbs, I really really dislike that. And I think we could
Mm.
add like a whole new like form of gameplay, really adding that, because it would give people to strive for more. I think gear is like very like, because it's so limited, the the implications of when we put in new gear, generally it's really really good because it doesn't happen very often, and like normal gear kind of sucks and it's just like mediocre. And I feel
Mm.
like having more diversity, and even just having more event reward diversity, would be great because it gives the people alternative motives to push an event. So maybe people don't like the fighter, but the gear is really good. And obviously that's not very good from an economical standpoint, right? People sink in resources for gear, and it just kind of gets sunk into there because you can't trade gear. But I still think that's fine, because then it just gives like opportunity for players to be more impactful on their own, right? Without having necessarily a lot of resources for fighters, you have the same kind of impact as someone with a high tier fighter if you have a mid tier fighter with gear that you grinded for, right? And that's more of like sense of like individual progression, because I think that's really important in like a small community like this. You need to have the you need to have the ability to keep people hooked and not leave, right? And that's how we grow. And this is just another opportunity. You're just kind of like expanding the window to players' enjoyment. And I think that's the number one thing that needs to be focused on, in my opinion.
I actually really like that suggestion. I was thinking, like in my head while you were saying that, like an alternative currency that's given out as a leaderboard prize that accesses you to a more exclusive equipment shop instead of this limited
Mm-hmm.
time nonsense like Sweet Delight,
Yeah,
Orb, and all that crap. Because I hate that.
I hate that, and I like the idea of a separate currency, because sometimes you need to clutch some Nux out of your Texie, and that would be my Nux for my orbs or something. Then it's like, well, now I don't have any,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't
Or
have
you
any
want,
Texie for anything else.
yeah,
I don't like the limited distribution. I think I think it's an okay option for what we have right now, but it's not I'm not a personal fan of that.
I think a current issue that we do have is that we're pretty reliant on Texi at the moment, and it's really hard on when you should spend it and when you shouldn't, because there's no transparency on what is upcoming.
That's true. I mean, some people can speculate like or maybe it passed like anniversary or beta anniversary stuff passed.
Yeah.
But like people have like basically once a year around like a Halloween time, I know that there's the shop for the Texie with extra gear, and that's basically like year round what people save for. And Texie feels like this some sort of like sacred currency that nobody should ever spend because they're like save it for orbs or save it for this, and it's like oh, don't buy max TSTs because you could buy orbs instead. And like I don't like that because I want to have gear for like whatever I want, right? But B, I don't like having this feeling of like I can't do this because I know um that it's gonna come like later. There's something it's called like a false sense of scarcity. Other games do this like Valorant or like that's the only one that comes to mind where basically, all the skins in the game exist, but you're only given a portion to choose from every day, but they exist, right? They're
Mm.
not like limited. You just but it's a false sense of scarcity. They don't exist to you at all points. The sweet delight or maybe not sweet delights, but orbs and all those things, they all exist and they're not like never gonna come back. But now there's this false sense of scarcity that, like, man, I really don't want to spend this because I know I'm going to have the opportunity to get it later instead. And I personally just hate that. Like, it's just like market, like, or idealistic, like manipulation. Like, you can't do things because you're waiting for something else to come.
And a big problem between
It
those
hurts.
two when you're comparing them, Valorant is just skins. Now, an orb
Oh, yeah.
changes how you play, and it
Right,
sucks.
right.
I
But
hate
the
it.
same idea of, like, as
Yeah,
a consumer,
I agree.
right?
All right, enough sidetracking.
Yeah.
Just went into our own views on other stuff. Your
Okay.
reputation as a Discord member. Now, you're a bit of a memer, to say the least.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You haven't been as active as of late, but that's of course bouncing back to like you're not playing Dot as much either. It kind of goes hand in hand usually. Um, would you agree to those?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely say that. Um, I think well, I'm gonna assume this is an open-ended question.
Yeah.
Okay. I think my reputation as a Discord member is pretty good. Like, I think I'm in good standings with like majority of people. Um, and like I used to be way, way more active. Like 2020, like I took a break at the end of 2019. In 2020, I like kicked really hard from like February to like the end of summer. And then I just got like really burnt out. But during those times, I think I'm pretty good standing as like everyone. Like I don't think anyone hates me. I don't like type in the chat to like make enemies or anything. And I really just kind of like join in on random conversations that I keep going. I definitely look and read the chat more often than I actually type. I just like to see the conversations that are going in there.
Yeah.
But I think in the times that I was more active, that I've built a pretty like solid um, idea of me as a member of the community, and I like the community too, so it all like goes full circle. But I definitely don't talk nearly as much. Like the most you get from me is I ping my boys to play some Yahtzee every once in a while.
And I must admit, I've joined a couple times from
It's
my
so
work
fun.
office, but
All yeah, that's like my communication right now. Is I get some people in that want to play Yahtzee. We got the G's that do play Yahtzee, and we got the old boys that don't play Yahtzee because they're lame. They just don't want to be. Even Grum plays Yahtzee, man. He's so it's that's honestly what I am actually really active in the games chat. Just talking about different things.
yeah, yeah.
But that's like the only one I'm really active in anymore. But I do read Dot a lot, and I do read like all the announcements. But I think uh, my Discord, like what's the word? Tip of my tongue. Um, the the view people have of me in the community is pretty positive, I would say,
Yeah.
and it all it all just works out. We're all buddies, and
Yep.
we're all just hanging out.
I think the only enemies you've made is regarding not eating the sandal yet. It's been a while since the
Oh
Lottle events
man.
come around. Um, you want to give an update to those folks so they stop hating on you?
Oh,
Shout out to Lugon.
I hate that gif he sends every time he sends it. I cringe.
The one where you like
Um,
digest a Nike.
yeah, I'll tell you, I'm in a really, really, really weird spot with this sandal because I'll say it. I want to eat the sandal, but there are certain like repercussions I'm not ready to face upon eating a sandal, like terrible indigestion or like anything else that comes with eating unedible foods. Um, It is very interesting because I tried to make it as obscure as possible for this to happen, and I really just wanted to intimidate Lambo and like make him like I don't even think it worked, but in my head I thought it was a great idea. And I would ping him before an event start and I'd say I'm gonna eat my fucking sandal and then I'd be like it's your choice. And it came down as it used to be just the Lady of the Lake happened and I was like, well shit, if Lady of the Lake happens, I have to eat my sandal. So now it has to be a Lady of the Lake event that I call, like I had to call when the event happens. And then he fucking did it. I feel like that was planned, and now I mean that's fine if it is, but like I really didn't want it to come to this. I will say I have not given an honest attempt yet on eating this sandal, but I am very much open to different possibilities. I have pictures of the sandal in question. I have sent them in the chat before. You know, eating the sandal itself probably wouldn't be wise, and I could definitely get hurt from that. But maybe eating like a replica of the sandal, or like a cake made version of the sandal, or like something like that is more reasonable, and definitely more to my liking. Um, but I don't have much of an update to that other than I'm definitely just being a bitch right now and not getting indigestion from my sandal. But I am thinking about it like more often than I'd like to be honest. It kind of just like sits in the back of my head and haunts me because I know somebody in the dot chat, I'm going to be minding my own business, and they're going to be talking about God knows what, and then someone's just going to ping me, and they're just going to say sandal, and I'm like, well, here we go again. I got to deal with these motherfuckers, and like, you know, like berating me on my sandal. Um, and I mean, it's all right. Like, I don't mind it, but I I gotta explore different possibilities because I think right now is the way it is. It'll definitely be a long time, or like might I don't want to say might not happen, but it'd be a long time before I eat like a my actual sandal. But I know these are gonna go down in the books of .o lore, so I know Mom's got that set. This like the timeline of like Penguin declares he will eat his sandal, and then the timeline and where Penguin consumes his sandal. Like I want to be there. I want to be in the books, but I just gotta think about this a little smarter so I don't accidentally kill myself.
Yeah, I would say maybe like consider just biting it off or just chewing it and maybe not swallowing it.
That that's manageable too, but I gotta like deep fry this stuff or something. I don't even know how to deep fry things, dude. I gotta make it like chewy. So like, I have you ever tried to like chop off the end of the sandal with like your tooth? Like your teeth ain't cutting that stuff, man.
I think as a kid
At
I
least
used to
mine
try and eat
aren't.
my own sandal and I think it was pretty tough.
Yeah, I would agree. I as a man who wears sandals pretty actively, sandals are pretty fucking tough.
Yeah, yeah.
So. Just wearing these I wear these sandals all the time. The sandal in question, I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not eating this shit, fuck you guys. And then I just gotta think about it a little longer about how I'm gonna I'm gonna get all these guys off my back about the sandal. I do want to eat it though. I will say that I'm not like gonna not eat it. I just have to think about this a little bit more. Like how can I do this in a safe manner that would please people? So
Yeah.
please let me know if you have ideas. Hey, Puddin, I'm gonna beat you up. Stop doing that. Sorry, my cat is just like it's 1 a.m. and she's got the zoomies.
That's all good. That sounds like cats.
Yeah, I hate it. Anyways, yeah, give me ideas of like what would satisfy the urges of specifically people like Lugon who make me cringe when he sends this shit. But any like the more the tame people like Neo or like Saki or like Grom, that would be pretty easily satisfied. If they have ideas that would be satisfactory, just send them over.
We could reach out to Good Doctor if he's actually a doctor. He might have some medical advice on it.
His medical advice is probably not to eat the sandal.
Probably.
That's my hunch, I would say.
Oh dear. I don't know how
Yeah.
many DMs I got when you had like over 10 votes about make sure you ask him to eat the sandal.
I was really prepared about it. I was just like, I win. I remember you texting me about like, hey, you won. When are we gonna do this interview? And I'm like, this son of a bitch is gonna ask me about the sandal. I didn't prepare anything, but I did think about this of like how am I gonna work my little roundabout here about this sandal, this damn sandal. There's a meme where it's like it was like I think it's from like what is that super normie show? It's like Twilight or something like that. Am I um
I got no idea.
Man, anyway, some people will know what I'm talking about. It's like the chick who's the main character, and she's like, it was that smile. It all started with that damn smile, and it's this fucking sandal. It all started with this fucking sandal. Because Lambo just had to go and be like, yeah, this time he's gonna do it, and then boom. Because he never responds to me when I say that, and I ping him like, it's your choice. But he probably read the shit every time, and is like, he's probably thinking he's like, your time will come one day. I one day I'm gonna call the event 10 minutes before it happens, and he's like, we're gonna change everything. It's Lady of the Lake now, and here I am, people telling me to eat my fucking sandal.
There's
I did
no
ask for it more or less, but
there's no way that was a coincidence that Lottle was released because of the power level that she brings. You'd think that's a manual deployment.
like also because since I've been pretty inactive for a while. And I would randomly pop in the chat and be like I do stay up for events. Like I see what events are before I go to bed.
Mm.
Um, and I say, oh, let's see what the event is, and like I don't talk very much, but maybe once a month I'll pop in my head and I'll be like, I'll eat my sandal if it's Lady of the Lake at this event, and I'll pop it in like maybe an hour or two before the event starts. So I don't think it's mere coincidence because like when I was super active about it, maybe like a year ago, um, like when it first started, I feel like it would be pretty common for that to happen. But like now that I only say it like used to say it maybe like once in a month or something. Now I feel like he's fucking with me. He's like, now I'm gonna let hell rain loose on this Discord, make this guy eat a sandal, and make Lugan post that same fucking cringy thing all the time.
Every time he
I
sees you
know he
talk.
left the server. I know he left the server, but he still DMs me that shit. Like every once in a while, no context, he'll just send it to me and I'll say sandal, and I'm like, leave me alone.
Fucking
I
Lugo.
think I think it's hilarious how he does that, but like, yeah, it was crazy. Anytime I'd even like poke my head in and be like, "Oh, what are we talking about?" He just posts that
A
fucking gif
sandal.
of the Nike. It's so cringe, man.
Oh, fuck's sake. Alright. Your favorite moment in Dotto if we weren't just talking about it for 10 minutes?
My favorite moment in Dot O. That's a good question. I'm trying to think of a single time that I was the happiest. Probably like, hmm, I don't know. probably one of my favorite moments. Okay, this is gonna seem like weird, maybe, but like I don't know. Hold on, let me think. I'd say probably my favorite moment so far, and this involves more the community and the game. But at
Hmm.
one point, like maybe a year ago, especially like around Delore event or even like before Delore event, I would say my favorite moment is when I became the closest with Grum because then we would play events and we'd talk to each other and we would be like, oh, we're gonna try to place top 25 together or we're gonna try to like push together. And I'd say at that point in time, I was probably the happiest and that gave me the most like inspiration to play. It'd be like you're not just playing for yourself. Now I'm playing for my boy Grum. Where it'd be like, hey, this event's going. Are you gonna push? Oh, I'm gonna go for top 50, or I'll go for top 10, and yeah, we can play together and we can talk about it. I'd say that was probably my favorite moment in .O is that little timeline when I was going with Grum and we basically play the game together.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty awesome.
That it is very wholesome. I really liked that time.
Yeah. Shout outs to Grum as well. We might as well shout out
I
everyone.
he's my favorite person. And he plays Yahtzee with me. He's great.
Yeah, I love Grum.
Definitely up there in my favorite people list.
Yep. Yep. I don't think he's hated by too many people. Maybe just Spoink, and that's about it.
Maybe just Spoink. I remember dropping in like, what happened? It's like, yeah, Spoink fucking blew up on Grum or whatever, and I was like, I love Spoink. Like, I have no idea anything about him or like his personality very much, but his accent was so cool, and I'd be so weird, and I would just sit in the voice chat, and I'm like, Spoink, will you read this like article for me? And I just make everyone shut up so I could just listen to him talk. It was like my guilty pleasure. It is weird, but Spoink, you should come back. I just want to hear you talk again. You have a great accent. It's very like cool.
I must say, I also did join voice chats with Spoink, and I'd talk to him like we were just close friends. And at the time, he had me
Yep.
blocked on Discord.
My buddy old pal Spoink, you feel like unblocking me yet? I, I, oh, that is great. That was out of left field. I didn't expect that.
Nah, he was definitely great. He definitely did swear at Grum in Italian though, and that's how he got muted.
Yep, yep. And then yeah, he ended up messaging me about it a lot too because I was talking to him. I was like, well, your voice is cool, but Grum's a G, so
Yeah.
I got sides to pick.
Oh, Spoink. I know you'll never watch this, Spoink, but we love you. Please come
Hey,
home.
I miss you. You can come home. I'll welcome you back. I'll call you a bitch and tell you you shouldn't have done that. It didn't have to be like this kind of thing, but I'll welcome you back with open arms as
Hell
long
yeah.
as you read to me every night.
All right. Any fond memories of OG Dot?
Oh, I did win at the Bears fan giveaway once, and that was probably like the only notable thing that ever happened to me in Dot.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I tried to like I really really tried to find the clip because I won it on a stream. It was on Christmas Day, I remember. Probably like 2012, maybe 2011 or 12. I
Yep.
think I was in elementary school at the time. Maybe I was in middle school. I'm not exactly remember, but all I know is that he was doing a giveaway and he wrote on my wall that I had won and to like add him on kick and stuff and I was like so like it was Christmas Day. I was ecstatic. And I tried to find like the live stream clip, and I think I found it at one point, but I don't think the video exists anymore. That stream where he'd be like, "Hey, this guy won," and it's like sent him a message, and that was probably like the most exciting moment in my OG dot life because I sucked. I think by the time the game closed, I had like two legendaries. One of them was the one he gave me. It's like the blue dragon guy. It's like called it's like three letters or something. Um,
Oh, was he like a? Was it a 2 out of 2 champ?
yes, it was a two. He rode like the blue dragon. Kind of looked like a skinny like Zari on top of like a blue dragon guy. I'm trying to remember his name. It was like three letters, so it was a really short name.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's what I won. and he wasn't very good. But I remember just being so excited. That was like the most entertaining moment I ever had in Dot because I was really young and didn't really like super understand the game or like economy or like you know re- resource values or anything like that. So that was the highlight of my OG Dot for sure.
Fantastic. That's definitely more giveaways than I've ever won.
Yeah, dude, I've won two, like ever.
Hell yeah. All right. Is there any questions you'd like to ask me?
Yeah. Um, will you call me a cunt?
Penguin, you're an absolute fucking cunt.
Dude, I love Australian people so much. Just saying that to me. You're my spoink of the night. You're my dirty pleasure.
Hell yeah.
Saying that to me. Um, no, I don't know. What inspired you to start this series?
Um, it was honestly just there's not a lot of social media side of this game, I guess. Now, and I was highly inspired by Ozan, to be honest. So he did some things called dotcasts going back, I want to say 3 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was
Uh,
three. And that was actually pretty cool. The first episode I was featured in, and we just pretty much just had a roundtable talk, I think between 4 or 5 of us, about the things that were happening in Dot at the time. And then I was basically talking to Lambo about pitching some ideas of basically doing a similar kind of thing. And one of them was kind of like what Ozan did, where have like a roundtable talk on recent events or the current event that's going on. And then the other idea I had was talking to people one on one and interviewing them and just getting ideas from them about their views on the game. Not so much like recent events, but to be honest, we've actually had quite a few things happen recently. So like,
oh yeah.
of course, with this dungeon, with the reward distribution or lack thereof,
Single rare win.
yeah. And then super views as well. So I've kind of thrown those in as well. But a lot of it was supposed to be based on like their time here and on the Discord, and then the past dot as well. So it was kind of like more of a general thing about the person themselves. And I think it's
I
quite
like that.
interesting. Yeah.
That's a pretty good answer. I was in my head. I was thinking that it was just on a whim, but it looks like there's more thought into that than I initially anticipated. But
It was
what
kind of on
about
a
like
whim.
what about like your thoughts of the game? Do you care more about the game or more about like the community right now? Like, what do you feel more interested in?
Interested in to a point community. But of course, as of recent events, I've uh, debatable things. I've stirred the pot a little bit as of recent with a unnamed person.
Okay.
Um, but community as a general, I do like, and that's kind of why I stick around. It's more so, yeah, the people that I just talk to every day on here. Um,
Right.
so I enjoy that bit. Not as much the game. I just play that on the
Mm-hmm.
side.
Well, I like that. I think I had better questions than Swiggity, so that concludes my questions. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what Swig asked me.
I
Uh,
don't remember. Swig, if you're watching this, whatever you said there was not very memorable to me because I completely forgot. Uh, but
I know,
I'm definitely calling here right now.
I know Floobs, and that was why I don't have a gold crown.
Oh, you don't have a gold crown?
No,
You should have played last event and got an easy gold crown.
I didn't even
That's how I
play.
get my gold crowns. Got mine on Xur and Lofi and then Nabu. Ugly Fish. It ended up being like one of the worst investments of my life.
Oh, poor
He
Nobu.
looked ugly, so I guess that was pretty cool.
Kind of like an Acme.
Yeah. I ended up buying them for like 630 and selling them for like 500.
Oh,
That happens to me a lot. I buy things in hype and I'm a really easy person to talk down. Like you start talking prices and you're just like, yeah, I'll take it for 50 less. And I think to myself, and I'm like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. I'm like, let's do it.
well, I know who I can talk to in future then.
Yeah. I'm such an easygoing person. And even like right when Nature left, I thought he was a cool person. And I gave him like a discount on like half my band that I was selling. So I always end up like losing nucks on my investments because I'm just like I'm like, yeah, you want it for less, no problem, we're cool because I'm cool with most people. But if someone like DJ Hollick comes back and starts fucking messaging me every single time he types, that price is going up. I that that guy's something else, man.
I love DJ.
He's cool, but he doesn't like talking.
He's
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 really like
he's interesting when it comes to prices and business and stuff, but
I have screenshots of him trying to bargain with me, and I would increase the price. He'd be like, "Would you take it for 800?" And I'm like, 850. He's like, "Are you serious, man? How about like?" And he'd raise it like 805, and I'm like 875, and he'd get so like tilted about it. I thought it was the funniest stuff in the world, but he would come to me and like shoot me the craziest low balls, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he would give me these like responses of like these paragraphs of like why it should be this price, and I'm like, I'm gonna raise it even more. And then he'd get like triggered or something. It was really fun. Like honestly, I thought he was a good friend just because we could like that was a pretty common thing. But yeah, I'm really easygoing. I can always knock down prices for buddies. So and then I always have no nucks.
yep, the life.
It it kind of sucks actually.
That sounds like a mid game player.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Come on, there's only two people that are end game, and it's not us.
All right. Yeah, well, I have two Mac Lady the Lakes, so
Yeah, that's pretty good. There's no
that's
way you
about
make
it.
a loss on her.
Oh yeah, I'm not selling her, so I actually bought most of them pretty cheap, and I had like three. I had almost a max just by myself.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, she's only just
So
really going up in price, really.
yeah, I know Lemur, whatever your name is, keeps trying to sell the single Lady of the Lake, and I bet I haven't asked him about it, but he's just trying to take advantage of the scarcity and be like 500 or something. So
Four
if
fifty.
somebody's selling them, it's like really crazy price, and especially with Super Fusion, like the only times any of these fighters will trade is when really good other fighters trade. Like Rin, like I bet people would start trading like for Rins, but I'm not. hmm, Excuse me, I'm not positive about that.
Yeah,
Um,
well, this is
I'm never trading mine. Never.
yeah,
I fucking am eating a sandal for this shit, so it's worth more than just the Nox.
yep, definitely. All right. Well, I actually threw out another question on here because
All right.
I haven't put these ones on for other people yet. But do you have any tips for new players in case they watch this series?
Oh, new players. Um, well, I think for new players, some of the biggest things that you can do is just be really active in the Discord because more often than not, a lot of players have been here for a long time and they have really good insight. They can just help you make very good and like economical decisions. Kind of help you like when to be in an event, when to not, and like kind of guide you in the right direction. Because I think going into this game blind, even like through nostalgia, if you kind of remember the game originally, it's kind of hard to like maneuver your way around here. And I definitely say the community is like super open to like help and like being pointing you in the right direction. And I think that'll get you farther than anywhere. Um, and secondly, is to not spend your Texie and wait for these damn overpowered gear. You just save all of it. That's it. Pudding, I swear to God. All right. Uh, Sorry, she's just coming like scratching me, and I ain't having none of that. But the community and saving that Texie. Those are like the two biggest things for any like units that you're gonna buy for your band or like certain lines that you're interested in. The classic rogue line, guru line, champ line. They can help you a lot in what would be best for your economical standpoint. I know it'd be like a lot harder now that loaning's out of the game, so maybe you just have to get really lucky and win a Hermes in a giveaway in your first week or something. I don't know. Um, but like I think it's gonna make early game a lot harder, and so making those like really big decisions not by yourself is gonna be really important. Just to help you keep well informed. Information is really powerful. Being well informed is really good, and I think that would be the best thing going into the game blind.
Yep, I agree with those statements. Um, yeah. Any new players? Make sure you listen.
Yeah.
That question will be spread out more as we go along as well. I also just had a look at the time we've been recording for, and it's about to approach 50 minutes.
Yeah, I was looking at that. That's good.
That's good.
I
That means more ad revenue, right?
Yes, making those bank, bro, and then you donate to the server,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
and you'll get nothing back but satisfaction. So it all comes full circle.
Yep. So, lads, if you're watching, all proceedings that come from my channel will go straight
Yeah.
towards the server.
Now turn off your ad block, guys.
Yeah. So I can send that 2 cents over to them. Um, all right. I just want to say thank you, Penguin, for joining us for
Yeah, of
this episode.
course. I was really I really am genuinely happy to talk about it. I always like having an opportunity to speak. So
Yeah, yeah. And it's definitely good just to hear the history and the views of some people as well.
right,
It's very interesting to see like different angles of certain things that you may not be able to understand just by your own view.
right. I
Yeah,
think it's really good what you're doing. I really enjoy it.
thank you.
Yeah.
And with that, I will just say a couple more things. What I will be trying to do with each video getting posted is I will add a link at the bottom for the next voting or the next draw poll for who will be on the next episode or the next iteration. So I think that will just help make it a bit more streamlined, I guess. Instead of there being on average, I think was a 3 day period in between the episode getting released and a straw poll going up. And I'll also put on that description the end time of the straw poll because I noticed on the last post there wasn't actually an end time posted, but I may have asked Lambo to put it in there, but we won't talk about that. Um, so,
Don't
um,
worry.
yeah, guys. So, thanks again, Penguin, and we'll
Yeah.
see you guys next time.
All right. I'm shooting finger guns at you guys, but you can't see. But thanks for having me.
Cool. Thank you, and we'll
All
hear
right.
from you when you have your sandal.
Yeah, don't talk about it.
Every time you talk, I'll have an auto response bot that replies to that GIF.
That's terrible. You're gonna make me cringe, man.
I'll name the bot Lugon.
Oh, what a great way to close that.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Yeah.
See ya.
All right.